Okay, in this video, we are going to take a look at how you can take off the image from around the outside when you copy and paste an image over. So this picture of the tiger is a separate image. It's on a separate layer than my background layer. And we're going to show you how to take this background off. So one way to do it would be to take your magic wand. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and click on the blue area. This works well since it's all pretty much a solid blue area. You'll notice it doesn't select all the blue because uh, this is a darker shade of blue and this is a lighter shade. So one thing we could do to add to that selection, if we wanted to select it all at the same time, is I'm just going to hold down Shift, and you'll see up on top here, when I hold Shift, it's going to add to the selection, or you can just click on the button up top. Then when I click this area, I'm just going to go ahead and click all the other blue areas. I'm even going to go inside where the neck is and click these blue areas. And I'm just going to push delete on my keyboard. I'm going to go up to select and deselect. And then you'll see that the blue part is taken off. But when I zoom into the area, notice how it kind of gives a blue halo around the outside. And it doesn't quite get all of it. So you may have to zoom into areas to specifically get those. So I'm going to take my magic wand again, and I'm just going to click certain areas and push delete. Sometimes it might be hard to get all of the areas because it's too close, and it might select more than what you want. So another option then is to take your eraser tool and kind of erase around those edges to clean them up as well. Now, if you'll notice, when I use just the magic wand tool, notice how it gives kind of that hard edge around the outside of the tiger. So I'm going to show you a method that's called masking that will kind of help fade the edges to make it look like they fit and belong in there. So I'm going to hide this layer for right now. I'm going to open up another layer that has that tiger on there. This time I'm going to go to the cut tool. Now the cut tool kind of works like the magic wand, except it's not exactly erasing it. It's just getting rid of it, just hiding it basically. You'll notice on the top, it gives you some different settings. It says, what do you want to mask it with? Shape mask, you can use a magic mask, which is like the magic wand like we just used. You could draw your mask on. You could use the lasso mask and a gradient mask. So I'm going to show you how to use the magic mask and using the drawing one and the lasso one today. Before I click an area that I want to mask off, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to go in and change. I'm just adjusting my screen so you can see a little better. I'm going to change my feathering option. What feathering will do is it will soften up your edges depending on how many pixels that you do. So the higher the number, the more faded and soft your edge will look. So I'm going to use this mask tool again. And you notice over here it says add to mask or remove from mask. I want to add to it. I'm going to take my magic wand and I'm just going to select this area. And actually, I want to remove from mask. So I clicked the wrong one. You'll notice how it got rid of everything I didn't select. So Control Z will just undo that. So I'm going to remove from mask. I'm going to click that area. Now, if you'll notice when I zoom in, you can still see that blue around the outside. So one thing I might want to do is undo that. And I want to take my feathering and I want to make sure I increase it up. So let's say 8. I'm going to take my masking tool. I'm going to click it again. Notice how 8 provided more of a fade. Maybe not quite as much as I still want, so I'm going to undo that again. So sometimes it's just a trial and error, and you got to see where you're at. Let's try 25 here. I'm going to click this blue area again. Notice how I'm starting to kind of get a little closer to that area. So as I do this, maybe I increase my feathering just a little bit more, and I try to click this area. And I'm just going to go in and just click all the different areas I want to mask out. I'm going to try and click all these areas here. Notice how it leaves some of the areas down. I'm going to click the bigger spots. So if you get some areas like this, one thing you might need to do now is use the drawing mask tool. And I want to also remove from mask using the drawing mask. I like this method better than just a magic wand and deleting, because it allows me to kind of see what I'm doing. I need to remove. That was clicked on add again. The default would be add. So it allows me to kind of adjust these different areas. Now notice how when I'm using this brush tool now, it's getting rid of some of that blue area. So it's all kind of on the settings that you use. Right now you'll see I'm using the drawing tool. My opacity is at 100%. You can increase or decrease your brush size. But what it'll do is it'll get rid of areas just by highlighting and selecting them. I'm going to do a little bit more here just across the top of the tiger. So going back to that brush tool. So I'm on the Cutout Mask tool, going back to that drawing brush tool, and I'm just going to kind of draw and brush around the outside of this. The default always flips back to add to mask, so I want to make sure I take away from mask. And what that'll do is that'll soften up those edges for you, so that way it looks like it belongs as part of the picture. To kind of see the difference of what it looks like. So if I zoom into this part of the tiger, notice how the edges are nice and soft and it's faded into the background. I'm going to bring back the other one. Notice how on this image, I'm going to match them up. Notice how on that image, when I bring back the original one that we did, how it has kind of that hard pixel edge, and you can still see some of the blue. You know, you definitely can go in and erase parts of those. But by doing that, make sure I'm selected on the right layer here. So you can go ahead and erase to kind of get that edge as well. But using that masking tool where you cut out, and then you can use different areas. Now there is also an option too where you can just lasso an area. So if I take this lasso tool, I'm going to make sure I'm selected on my layer I want to get rid of. I can just take that lasso and I can lasso around an area too that I want to get rid of. So you could draw along the edge of this tail and kind of lasso and enclose that area to help soften those edges. So those are a few different options for you to mask your area for your image, and that'll get rid of the background area. So now when I move it around, it doesn't matter where I move it to, it's still going to be masked.